Greetings. Oh, greetings, greetings, greetings. I just checking in. I've been under the weather, but other than that, I am doing pretty well. I'm starting to feel better. So I know it's been a minute, um, but I am constantly going live on Facebook. Um, and then what I do is, screen record and put the videos to my channel. And so, um, but the plan is to give you a taste of what it is to persevere. Um, it's been a journey, but one thing about this journey that I know, um, it is God that continued to allow me to navigate through this. Because after all, navigating and persevering, it all has to come from God. Because I cannot do this in my strength. I have to do it in the strength of God. And I know people say, well, why do you say that all the time? Because it is so true. It is so true. We cannot do things in our own strength. We have to do it in the strength of God. You know? And I know some people say, well, you know what? I have tried to do it without God. But after a while, I realized that I can no longer do it in my own strength. I have to do it with God. I just can't do it. There's no way. There's no way. And then some people try to do it with other people, but then still, we were meant to rely on God for strength. And so there is nothing wrong with relying on God's strength. Because without Him, where will we be? Where can we go if we don't have His strength? So yes. So persevering, it is an honor to be able to persevere. It is a privilege to be able to persevere. It is a blessing to be able to persevere. It is God. It is God. And God is the one that continue to keep us going. Even when we don't know what to do. God keeps us going. God is the one that gives us not only the strength, but He encourages us to keep going. Because without encouragement, you wouldn't be able to keep going. Without reminding yourself that trouble don't last always, you wouldn't be able to keep yourself going. Thanks for joining. But listen, you got to know that these things that we go through, it is God that get us through them. And if God doesn't help us to get through it, then how are you going to navigate through it? How are you going to see on tomorrow when you can't even get through the night? It takes God to get you through the night. It takes God to get you. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, yes, yes. Love God too as well. Because see, without Him, how can we stay motivated? How can we become everything that He wants us to become? Because see, the thing is that if we don't listen to Him, then how you know that you're going to make it on tomorrow? How you going to know that you're going to be able to make it on through the night? How is it? How is it that you're going to make it? How is it that you're going to make it? You can make it through the night because, see, God is with you. God is with you. God is for you. And there are people and there are prayer warriors that are praying for you. There are prayer warriors that are wanting the best for you. There are prayer warriors that are saying, God, please, we know that you hear the cries of the righteous. And because you hear the cries of the righteous, we choose to stand in the gap 3 a.m. We understand that there's church on tomorrow, but we don't mind standing 3 a.m. Because after all, what concerns my brother and my sister concerns me. And so, God, I know you are a God that will move. I know you are a God that will bring completion over the concerns that they have, oh God. So you got to know that there are prayer warriors that God has all across this world that is praying and standing in the gap because they know God would answer. They know God's going to move. But only how you know that is because you have seen it in front of your own eyes. But if you never seen what God has done and what he can do, how can you stand firm? How can you stand firm and not get weary? How is it that you will look with your physical eye and see that there is no change? But you fixate what's on in the spirit realm. That's how prayer warriors are able to stand. They're able to stand because of what they see spiritually. Prayer warriors don't stand on what they see physically because they know that what God has shown them and what God has done before and that he will do it again. He is the same God today, yesterday, today, and even in our future. He is the same God. So if he is the same God, why is it that you have some believers that would pray and get weary and get frustrated because they don't see it happening overnight? How is it? How is it? How is it that these prayer warriors, that they always get their prayers answered? How is it? And I'm a believer, and I know I believe. But how is it? Because you know why? Because we acknowledge God when we're praying. We acknowledge God when we're praying. If you don't acknowledge God when you are praying, because see, there are times we don't know what to pray. We don't know what to say. But God, he gives us the knowledge of the wisdom of when to pray, how to pray. We take his instructions. That's how we get our prayers answered. Because we take instructions and we acknowledge God when he is speaking. Because see, listen, if you don't acknowledge God and you in the midst of him, you won't even acknowledge what he's saying. How is it that you're going to get your prayers answered? That's the secret. When a prayer warrior is praying, is that they are acknowledging God. They are taking instructions from God. That's why they're able to hit the target every time. And just because prayer warriors hit the target every time doesn't mean it happens overnight. You got to know that when God said that completion is coming, it is coming. And it doesn't matter what it looks like. It can get worse. It can look like nothing is ever going to change. But in the prayer warrior eye, God already spoken. He's already shown that there's completion. So that's why prayer warriors, they don't get weary. They don't get weary. That's why they're able to stay up until 2 a.m, praying, standing in the gap, crying out to God, weeping before our Savior. Why? Because we know what God's going to do. We know that the ones that God has us praying over, we understand that 1 a.m, that they're laying in their bed and they're crying, saying, God, do you hear me? Do you even see what I'm going through? Do you even know how long I've been waiting? So you telling me that the prayer warrior, you can't pick up when God have you praying for somebody, or when God have me praying for somebody, I can feel when the enemy is bombarding them. And the enemy is saying, telling the one that you praying over to give up. Huh? Just keep denouncing out of your mind.